The New York Yankees just made a massive lineup change, moving down shortstop Anthony Volpe out of the leadoff spot, and coming in to take his place in the leadoff position of the starting nine is rookie first baseman Ben Rice. We're going to talk about all of what Aaron Boone had to say regarding the demotion of Anthony Volpe and what he thinks about the situation in Volpe's recent struggles. All of that and more on this episode of Yankees Digest. Welcome in. I'm your host, Gabby Gordon. But before we get going, I just want to show you this quick stat. If you're among the 58.8% not currently subscribed to the channel, do yourself a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button out of the park right now so that you never miss a video. But let's get down to business here because we really got to talk about what's been going on with Anthony Volpe. Now, Boone made it known that this is not the end for Volpe in the leadoff position. In fact, what he stated was that he just wanted to shake it up a little bit and give Volpe a blow from that spot. He went on to say, quote, "It doesn't mean he won't go back in there." He says, "I just felt like the at-bats Ben continues to string together here and just trying to optimize that spot and getting guys on base in front of the big boys," right? So Boone is obviously talking in regards to Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. Those are his big boys. Those are his hitters. And you really need a leadoff hitter who's going to get on base in any way possible so you can string those runs together when your guys come up. It can't simply just be Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, or bust. You know, it's got to be a collective effort, and your first three batters in the game are arguably the most essential. Let's take a quick look at what's been going on with these two players. So, Ben Rice was hitting .360 with 3 doubles and 4 ribbies against right-handers, with no ribbies against left-handers. Now, obviously, his hitting has come along since he started in AA. He was then promoted to AAA on June 5th, and then once Anthony Rizzo came out and broke his forearm, he was a Yankee 2 weeks after his AAA promotion. So he's really been on a fast track here to the majors, and he's handled it ridiculously well, coming from a standpoint of adjusting to opposing pitching and getting out there. Look, he hit his first home run the other night, so he is officially a New York Yankee in pinstripes, and he's handled it well, and rightfully so, taking over that leadoff spot because Volpe has been struggling. He started off the season really strong. We saw a different type of play out of Volpe in the sense that he wasn't necessarily home run or bust, but he's struggling. As a rookie last year, let's just take a look at those stats. He batted .206 with 21 homers and 60 ribbies. Now, his average has increased this season, but his home runs have dropped to 6. And his ground ball rate has risen to 51.8% from 41%. So that is obviously something you don't want to see. As well as the fly ball rate has fallen from 25.9%. And it was originally 37.1%. So two stats a little bit concerning, and I think this is really part of the reason why Boone has decided to move him down from the leadoff spot. It just is a necessary thing at this point. You can't have Volpe grounding out constantly in that leadoff spot, swinging and missing, not getting on base. You know, it can't happen. And you need somebody on base so that Judge and Soto can work these guys around and move these guys around the bases. That's how runs are scored, and lately it seems like all the Yankees do is play from behind the baseball. So it's certainly been difficult to watch, but you know, maybe this change was all that they need, and we'll see how it continues to be. Obviously didn't make much of a difference last night. Still got swept by the Reds. That's a separate story. Another video right before this one was recapping that series. That was a rough one, but let's just take a look at these two players' stats, see what's going on, see what it's all about. This is Anthony Volpe's stats this season thus far. Now, his on-base percentage is .307. He's got 26 walks, 6 homers, and 371 at-bats with 94 hits. Look, he's got 15 stolen bases. He's still that speed demon on the bases. He's got 30 ribbies, and he's obviously the New York Yankees shortstop. And guys, he's 23. He's young. We have to remember this is a new territory for Volpe to be that everyday type of player, and he is so fresh to the league still. So to have these struggles, it's understandable, but you can't keep doing the same thing as a manager and expecting different results. As they say, that's the definition of insanity. Now, on the other hand, if we're looking at Ben Rice and his statistics, he's actually 2 years older than Volpe, funny enough, but he is even fresher to the league in the aspect that he's only been on the Yankees' actual roster for a couple weeks at this point. He's got 1 homer. His first homer he hit the other night, so that was a huge moment for him. He's been on base, 360 on-base percentage with 5 ribbies and 11 hits in 42 at-bats, and he's currently their first baseman. He's been playing decent baseball for a kid who is very new to the league, and he's got some decent speed as well. What's important to note here is that this may not work in the long term. Ben Rice he was kind of just thrown to the wolves in the sense of, let's go figure it out, and now you're going to be the leadoff hitter. Congratulations. It's hard enough to move from AA to AAA to the major leagues when he hasn't even had that much time in AAA. If you really look at when he was called up, and that Rizzo injury, obviously not expected. That was something that really killed the Yankees in their lineup. So to bring up this young kid who just thrown into pinstripes, say, good luck, here you go. Now, congratulations, you're going to be the leadoff spot. It's definitely difficult for a guy like Ben Rice, but he's handled it really well. And he's just getting on base in any way he can, whether that is walks. He draws a lot of walks. He's got a good eye. Whether that's hits. He's strung together a couple of extra base hits at this point, and he's just really looking like a good baseball player from all different sides. So it's going to be interesting to see how much longer Aaron Boone decides to roll with this lineup and with Volpe really low down and with Ben Rice leading off. Now, the lineup for tonight's beginning of the series against the Red Sox, the rivalry that we all wait for, it's looking like this. Ben Rice again in the leadoff spot at first base. Juan Soto and right. Judge will be DHing tonight, and Verdugo will play left. That's a whole other issue. That 4 spot, that's been an issue, and that's something we're obviously going to have to keep a close eye on. Verdugo has been struggling. He's batting .248. You need a good cleanup hitter, and Verdugo has not been that guy. So that's going to be an interesting kind of storyline to follow as we head into this next series against the Red Sox. Then you got Torres, who is silently heating up in some aspects, and he'll be playing second base tonight. Austin Wells will be catching. He has been working the count really well. He's been on base a lot, probably more than most of this lineup has been in the last few series. Volpe moving down significantly. He's playing shortstop tonight. And then you got Grisham in center and LeMahieu at third. Obviously, some guys to watch here. You got to watch Verdugo. You got to see if he can step things up. He has been having a rough stretch of things. LeMahieu is no exception to that. Torres, you got to see if he can continue staying consistent. But I think potentially what's most enticing to me here is to watch Ben Rice. This is now another game with him in the leadoff spot. Now another game that he is the first guy on their offense to face opposing pitching. How is he going to respond to that? How is that going to look in his statistics? He's batting .262 right now. Let's see how this goes. Right? 1 home run. He's coming off of his first big league homer. That is huge for a young kid, huge for confidence. We know baseball is all about the mental side of things and confidence. So we're going to have to see, what can Ben Rice do that Volpe maybe couldn't? And maybe that is just simply getting on base. Maybe that's just continuing to get into a hot streak here and working the count and walking and moving runners around and letting the big guys do what they got to do best, right? That's what a leadoff position spot is. Get on base so that your big hitters can do what they do best. And that is what Boone has decided to do with his lineup. So we're going to have to see how this translates into the next series against Boston. Please, New York, do not get swept by the Red Sox like you did against the Reds. That is just going to be a punch to the gut for Yankees fans, and certainly a punch to the gut for that team, because in a rivalry like you have against Boston and New York, if they don't come out swinging with a fight, it's going to be a pretty ridiculous series to sit through and watch. But that's going to do it for this episode of Yankees Digest. Once again, if you're new here, you like what you see, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a video. We're going to be covering the Yankees through the rest of this season and beyond, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. I've been your host, Gabby Gordon. I'll catch you in the next one.